Greg Claycomb, owner of Edge Body Boot Camp, Louisville.
Yeah, so Greg, so cool to have you back. It's been how many months? We did this about this time last year. I know I started the podcast of May, I think early May last year. That's when I did the Tom Mabe one. And then I was struggling to find guests, and I went down the list.
Yeah.
And I looked up all the fitness, because I really wanted to do a fitness guy. And I went through the list of like all the gym owners in Louisville. And then this guy is one of the only guys that answered back to do it. And I know his schedule now. That was before I knew his schedule or anything. But now he's sitting with me. That was episode 3, I think, looking back at it. And yeah, what did you think of all that? Like,
man, I mean, I knew you were getting started around that time, but yeah, you've come a long way, and you just gave me the tour of this place. It's incredible.
Awesome
I think y'all
place.
have a real legitimate practice going on here. It's really cool to see.
So a lot has happened since that first episode. I have, for one, got a job so this podcast has been awesome because it got me a job opportunity with just awesome people. So
yeah, you've been working with me now for 6 months. Yeah, it's been a minute.
A lot has changed since then. So what kind of were you thinking with the first podcast, and like what's kind of changed for you since then, for that whole 6 months period?
You mean my thoughts on who you are,
or well, not
what's
just
going
me.
on in my life?
For you first.
With me,
this is about you.
I'm definitely getting to a point now. I spent about the first 5 years of being in business trying to take as little as I could towards my income for myself, and I put as much as I could back into the business. So since January, everything's kind of fallen into place where now I'm in a little bit different position financially myself and with the company, because we've actually grown quite a bit. So now things that were a struggle before, where I had to really rely on opportunity.
You really manifested it into your life in a way.
It's just happening more free flowing, and now the opportunities can create themselves since we have the resources. Whereas before I had to let them appear before I could move.
Right. And I remember when doing the podcast with you that long ago, you were talking about this magical thing that you're going to do, heart rate monitors. That seems so far away, but you ended up getting that too, which is so awesome.
Yeah, we're getting ready to launch it. Should be another week or so.
Getting close. So now that I have a job here, I've gotten to know this guy very well and know that he's one of the busiest and a hardworking people. And you're only 28?
I'm 28, yeah.
That's right. I got it right. So
and
you are
half.
28 and a half. That's right. When's your birthday again?
September. End of September, yeah.
So coming up a little bit kind of close after that summer. But I've known, first starting off, I knew he was a busy guy because he did schedule kind of in that midday, and you could tell like the schedules. But now I've actually seen this guy's schedule. How do you kind of cope, or when you have that mindset, what's that mindset to get you through some of those hard?
Realistically, it's a matter of thinking, if I don't do this, it's not going to happen. It's a kind of a silly motto to live by, but the easiest way to get it done is to do it, is what I tell myself often. So when I'm getting busy, I know that it's seasonal. You know, there's going to be down seasons too, where if I work hard now and I get the work done, I'm going to be able to reap the benefits later. And as an entrepreneur, I think that having that self-motivation is super important to have for running a business.
Definitely. So what do you think of that kind of wishful thinking of people writing down the goals, but then just fixated on wanting it and not going after it? Like, you can want it all you want, but if you're not going to put in that work too.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I never wrote down goals until this past year. I kind of always had them mental, and maybe not that I didn't write them down, but I didn't have like a whole list of them. So I did actually have a conversation. One of the younger trainers at a corporate gym that I'll leave the name out of approached me and was like, "Hey man, I've kind of seen you around here, and I know you own your gym. You know, what would you say to a young trainer?" And the biggest thing I said to him, because he said he had like all these goals and plans of doing things, and I was like, "Dude, get started. Like, you have to put in work."
That's what I know that from working with a lot of people and being in this environment with entrepreneurs, that they have started kind of before they thought about that full plan.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, my plan when I first started, literally, I had it mapped out so I could make $2,000 a month. And I was.
And then that sounds really good when you have no bills.
I was poor. Like, 2,000 was going to be a good living. Yeah, and I was like, I can pay an apartment rent. I can not eat ramen noodles every meal. And
God, so that's so cool that you mentioned that. So what age was that?
That was probably like 21, 22 when I was getting my business plan together.
Oh, gotcha. Was that college still?
Yeah.
So you were in college and making a business plan?
Yeah, and working part-time as a personal trainer and doing a few
That's right, because you
group
worked at
fitness classes.
some other gym and you worked for someone building up, and you're probably putting all that money back into business plan and living.
Yeah, well, at that point, it wasn't when I was working for that other guy still, I didn't even have an idea of making my own
Now,
business.
I
So,
remember that a little bit from
yeah.
the last time we had the podcast, and you mentioned that it wasn't a very good situation.
No,
And
not at all.
he
I
was
got
in that
fired.
building that you're in, yeah, right now, right?
Yeah, where we're at. He was there, and I was living in the apartments across the street. That was my first, well, not my first apartment. Since I had started my business and got back on my own feet, I moved into that apartment complex, and then like a month later, he moved his business into the spot we're in right across the street. So every day I had to leave and see him there running it, living my dream, and I was like, man, this guy. And I knew he wasn't really too great of a guy neither, so
Yeah,
it really irked my nerves. Yeah.
It seems like, especially when you're so low, that when you look at people that are successful, some of them seem like that awful person, and you're like, how did you get it? And you don't want to think that being awful helps getting successful.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
It can skew your mindset at least. And I mean, I kind of knew though. One of the things when I started my company, because of some of the things that he had told me and wanted me to do, that was ultimately the reason I got fired. My whole thing was I wanted to start a business on honest principles and treating people right. And honestly, at this point, I'll credit that to most of my success. Is yeah, we have a good thing going. We have the resources. We have a great program. But whenever people come in, they want to be treated like a human being, and like they
Right.
have a soul that you're talking to, rather than just body and flesh. Yeah, go on down the assembly line
Yeah.
type thing. So
Now, I noticed that 100,000,000%. You as a business owner, you delegate very little. Now you've just recently started to delegate,
Yeah, I'm
and
learning.
you love to be into it, which is so awesome. You still give the evals. You still are
Yeah.
in 100% into the customer service. Because I think you personally know that how awful customer service can be. You have some bad experiences.
yeah, and even in the past, before you met me, it's probably a couple of years ago now, but I kind of experimented with some of those delegations and passing on my responsibilities to a few trainers. And I still found, like, even though, I'm trying to pay my trainers well so that they can afford things in their life and not need so many other jobs at the same time.
Right.
But even so, the motivation to do the job to the best of their ability was still never as high as my motivation, because it's my company.
That's true. Yeah.
I care so much more, so of course I'm going to do a better job. So there's some things that, yeah, you can delegate, but there's some things that I still find, like that one-on-one meeting with the clients.
Yeah.
Like
I
I'm
still
gonna
find
do the
that
best
so
at
cool that you still do that, because you already are super busy, and you pull out that schedule that you
Yeah,
have.
my planner.
you go down the list, and you're like, I guess I can fit you in, and you just
Yeah.
smush it in there somehow. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
A little off the topic of that, but what do you think is the number one reason why people fail? Anything fitness related, business related?
Okay. As far as
Fitness is
the
a-
fitness industry goes, as a specific market,
Yeah.
I find that a lot of trainers get into the field because they have a background in something physical, while they may not have the education to really achieve what the client wants. And then they also have a mindset of, oh, online it said personal trainers can make a lot of money and only work 20 hours a week. They don't understand that what that's meaning is working hands-on with clients, not the background stuff that's going to take 30 or 40 hours a week. So you're going to end up working 50 to 60 hours a week, and some people just aren't, they're not ready and willing to put in that kind of effort.
Yeah. And I know with a lot of the online, you pretty much have to be one of the top.
Yeah, especially online.
Yeah.
If you don't have a social media presence from
Yeah.
some type of popularity, that's going to be really difficult to launch.
Yeah.
Or the financial resources. I mean, if you had a rich grandma that left you $250,000.
That
that
story,
helps.
yeah, I forgot you were telling me about that story. Is you started it, you had to take out loans.
Oh,
Which
even
is crazy.
before that, before I could even take out a loan, because the bank wouldn't even
Oh,
qualify
credit score,
me.
everything.
Yeah,
all that jazz.
I had hardly any income. My credit score was, at 21 years old,
Yeah.
I don't even know exactly what it was, but I just didn't have any credit history. So before then, it was like, okay, what kind of side work can I do just to build up cash to funnel into my company and still maybe get me a couple meals a day?
God, that's so crazy. So you had to fully be in it, and you were living on friend's couch.
Yeah, a couple of times I stayed on.
Classic.
Shout out to Joe B. Shout out to Jacob.
Wait, was that Joe? Is that the Joe?
Joe? Yeah, Joe that is working the front desk right now. He had a kid and he needed a little side gig, so now it came back full circle and he's got a job at Edge Body. But
Awesome guy.
he was really nice enough, and at the time it was his grandpa's house. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago and did leave the house to Joe. But at that time, they were both letting me stay there. And then, like I said, my buddy Jacob, he let me stay on his couch a few times as well for, up to a few weeks at a time. It was really a blessing.
Now, when you were working for the other person's gym, did you think, that was a little bit before online, wasn't it? That was a little bit before any of this online personal training. You were just thinking about doing the overhead?
Yeah, the online thing hadn't quite blown up yet.
Yeah.
Instagram, I don't even think was around at that point.
The question I was going to ask you wouldn't be that relevant then. So how did you started at this other smaller gym that had a smaller overhead because you're at the...
Oh, where I'm at now? Yeah, I started actually
Huge.
subleasing. So
Gotcha.
I was paying a guy, my business partner, he was doing financially quite a bit more well than I am, or was at the time. So he loaned me a little bit of money to buy a little bit of equipment and pay my first month's rent at subleasing out of the back of Super Fitness. And if you're anywhere in the East End, you've probably seen that yellow building with Super Fitness. And I'll be honest, I don't think that guy, Fred, has renovated or maybe even cleaned that gym in like 30 years.
It's kind of the aesthetic, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks straight up out of a 70s movie. It looks like a roller disco in there. But it was a cool place to start. There wasn't a whole lot going on in there, so honestly, I got to kind of be the head honcho even as somebody just starting things up because I was the only trainer really working out of there. And after a few months, built my business up a little bit, got things going. Then I got to move into, after a year, I signed a lease in a 2,400 square foot spot. I was paying $3,000 a month for 3 years. One of the scariest things I've ever done.
God,
sign that
how
signature.
much was it so close? Like you were always like clenching on?
I'll be honest. A couple times I almost went out of business.
It's probably scary.
You get down to there being like $85 in the business bank account, and in a week and a half you got a $3,000 check to write. It's like, oh wow. So you do everything. You hit the ground. You spend like $20 printing out some flyers with a crazy good deal on it. Go put it on cars, make phone calls to any contacts that you've created over the past year's time. Say, hey, I can get you in here for $20 this month. Come back and try out what we got. I got a new space, I'd always try to promote my latest investment.
So you also went in
as a come up.
Prospecting
all the
phone.
time.
I was going to be like, how did you market that at first?
All the time. When you have no money, a lot of it is word of mouth, getting people who you know as family and friends and people who have come in and tried your business
I see that being a big part.
Saying, hey, do you have anybody that you know is probably wanting to be healthier and in better shape that might be into something like this? And then you just call that person and you be real honest and transparent. Say, hey, I got your number from this person. They wanted me to extend this offer to you while I had it going on. If you want to get in here for a trial period, let me know.
That's so awesome.
Again, I think that honesty and transparency, having just a casual conversation with somebody rather than trying to sell somebody and bring them in that way, people appreciate that so much. They're more willing to come and try it rather than feel like they're being sold into it.
That's so crazy that you mentioned that too. So you came all the way from that to being able to take the boys out to a steak dinner.
Yeah, that was a major accomplishment.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to be a part of that too.
Yeah, so cool.
It felt really good.
And as a business owner, and you've had the people with you like Will since the beginning, really.
Will's been with me now for about 2.5 years. I met him in one of those corporate gyms, and we just happened to be lifting weights and spotting each other. And then noticed we both played basketball.
So crazy.
And, within a few months, we became really good friends. And at that point, I was like, man, you're working here, making a couple $100 a week, but working like half hour at 7 a.m. and then they'd book him a half hour at 9 a.m. I was like, you're here all day long to make $50. I can get you that in 2 hours time back to back. Like, come over here and work with me and let's keep having fun.
So if you weren't doing the fitness thing, because you went all in on that, you have some other dreams and a lot of stuff you're good at, like drums.
Yeah.
Great at
that
drums.
That was cool for a while.
and you were in a band and all that. We talked about that last podcast. And basketball, which you're actually really good at.
Yeah,
and you do it on the side, too.
I'm getting high.
Yeah. I'm hyping you up.
Yeah, a little bit. Thank you.
But do you think, I know once you get the success you want and not be able to work at Edgebody as much, you'd want to lay back and maybe do a lot of the stuff for fun, like maybe going out, doing tours for fun and...
Yeah, I think I'm actually getting ready to step back into some music. I've taken a break for a few years because
Me too, yeah.
It's really, really time consuming. And honestly, to even go record one song, it can cost anywhere from like $500 to $1,000.
Now, I've never had the experience of doing the full recording. It's so cool. And your stuff sounded really good.
Thank you. Yeah, some of that was
I think you need to go the rapping.
Done.
You need to go the rapping way.
Yeah. My hip-hop, that's what I'm about to step back in the studio and do a little demo and record some songs that I never.
And we're not even joking because we're going to show this to all the clients, and they're not going to believe that you're actually, you can actually.
So here's my plan. I'm not even going to say nothing about it. I'm going to get registered on iTunes and Spotify and everything, and I'm just going to put it on the playlist. And I'm going to let it rock out for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then one day, whenever my song pops on, I'm just be like, "Hey, y'all, what do y'all think of that? Y'all like this song?" And,
oh my God!
Whatever the reviews are, I'll accept it. It is what it is, but I think it'll be fun.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah. At this point,
you have something on SoundCloud now.
Yeah, but again, those were recorded in my apartment living room.
And that didn't sound terrible.
Time ago. Not bad, but when you put it in a car, remember we were talking about like different types of audio.
Yeah.
It sounds okay when you got headphones in, but I want to go into a legit studio this time and have somebody else mix and master my audio.
I feel like you have the connects there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that do it.
Moving on this list that I made to help pioneering your own path. Did you find that difficult with like the family going a different way, or you were going this fitness way and maybe that was kind of weird in the you started, I guess, 90s or late 90s or early 2000s?
My family's always been supportive. And especially of me being an entrepreneur. My dad's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's right.
And he owns Claycomb's Tree Service, shout out. And that was like one of the big things I gained from my dad in life is just not only a mindset, but the natural ability to, if you want something done, figure out how to do it and get it done. And I think that having that ability as an entrepreneur is a huge advantage. I mean, there's been a lot of times where I didn't even know what my next step was. And if anything, I was like, okay, well, Google's a start.
Yeah.
And then we just research from there. As far as creating my own path, realistically, I think, it's 2019. There's capability to do just about anything. Yeah. So if you can dream it, you can achieve it. That's the saying, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm thankful for the opportunities I have, and I've realized that how good and easier I have it to be able to get entry into a podcast or anything without having to go through a studio or anything and being able to set this up.
And your space here is amazing.
It's always so cool to walk in here, and I love giving tours, so I was glad. I want to give you the rest after this. But,
okay.
Through the hard times that you've been through, because you've overcome so much, it's crazy. That's why I super respect you, and now you're a really good friend from the podcast.
Thank you.
What was the mindset of getting through on the couch thinking that, because it didn't sound like you had too many negative, at least from family, coming into your head. How did you get that positivity to really push, knowing that you can make it?
I don't know, man. Like I said, or what you're briefing on here is some hard times that was like in 2009, 2010, 2011. It was about a 2-year stretch there where I had just personal issue after personal issue. And I'm not a huge fan of discussing those details, but I will say, my life dramatically changed, and a lot of people who were family and friends who had supported me, they kind of went ghost on me, and I just had to kind of live it alone. And at this point, I guess I did meet my girlfriend just after those hard times, and she gave me a ton of support. But aside from that, I think that I was blessed to be able to deal with loneliness and learn how to cope with that to provide my own motivation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you, it was difficult. Difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I still struggle with that. I think I look at my grandpa now, and he's in his later years. He's 84, and he's still managing that on the day-to-day. And I can tell that that's something we got to learn to deal with for the rest of our lives.
Is that because, I guess...
Yeah, my grandma passed away. Yeah, family has moved around the country and even around the world. I got cousins living in Japan right now. So, he spends a lot of his days at church or watching CNN, and occasionally he'll go shoot some golf with whoever his buddies that are still alive. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
point he's at. So
That's hard, man.
seeing that, yeah, you got to learn how to deal with that forever.
And now that you are established, you're still making the new friends though, and you're still getting it.
You're
it's
one
just
of 'em.
it's just
cool.
hard to schedule them in.
Yeah, and that's another skill that
'Cause
I
you-
really slacked on
Yeah.
for a few years. I mean, my friends like Joe that we were talking about, Jacob, that I had several friend groups where there would be like 5 to 10 guys that maybe we wouldn't all get together at the same time every time, but at least 2 or 3 of us would get together and hang out. I kind of fell off with all my friends at one point, and was working like 60 or 70 hours a week. I was even trying to start a second business doing
What was that?
home renovations. I made a terrible
that's right.
mistake.
You told me about that.
Yeah, I bought a real rundown house.
Well, you had bad timing
and
there. It was bad.
Bad timing, bad resources,
Yeah.
not enough studying.
Yeah.
But
Oh, speaking
I'm
about that.
trying to get the friends and stuff back into my
Right,
life.
Exactly.
That's something that you have to make time for. And I mean, it can be in the middle of the day. Like I'm learning now, hey, I can stop, and if my friend gets off work early and wants to go to the park and shoot some basketball, I can stop for an hour or two and then stay late at work that night. That's more important to go see my friend and create that bond, because that's what fulfills you at the end of the day. The job, the money will help create the opportunities to go do the fun things, but you gonna go do those fun things alone every day for the rest of your life? Hell no.
And I think that really happens, at least out of college. Trying to
Our
juggle.
20s, man.
And
Shit.
right when you get that full-time job, you
Yeah.
get so into the rhythm of doing that. And a business is twice a full-time job, pretty much. Going in 80 hours a week, easy. You easily put in those. I was talking to some of the clients when I was doing those early morning classes, and they were telling about like how hard you'd work at that other location. And since you didn't really have any trainers, you would do all the shifts and then do the behind the scenes.
Building the gym. I mean, literally painting the walls,
Yeah.
running the wires for the sound system and for the heart rate monitors all through the ceiling and everything. Like, I mean, it's a lot of unpaid hours behind the scenes, but
God, what pays off now? That's
yes.
Now, this is your second year in the new building.
Yeah, well, we're getting ready to wrap up our second year. Actually, April 21st. Dang, that's coming up soon. That's going to be our 2-year anniversary in that building.
Really?
We'll be
And
starting
we
year
have
3.
how many left?
We got
For
four more years on that lease, and
okay, good.
here in about the past 6 to 8 months, I've been generating my game plan for when that is up. So,
Oh,
what
so
we
you
were
do,
mentioning
you
earlier,
have a game plan?
yeah, we were talking about like developing that business plan.
Yeah.
That has changed about probably 3 or 4 times in the past 5 years, and then now I'm even looking ahead, because what we're doing right now was literally all that I had in my mind. Like the vision is complete at
Yeah,
this
so
point.
you hit your goal that you
Yeah.
already had. Now, like, where do you go?
Well, we're gonna ride this out for a few more years,
Yeah.
enjoy it, stabilize.
Enjoy it. We're at a good steady.
Yeah, we need to put in the time so that opportunities can build from there. But after that, I think we're going to take it another step farther.
Get a sky gym.
Yeah,
Just one in the sky.
We're literally going to create an air ceiling.
Air ceiling.
You can walk in the sky.
Yeah, just getting a skyscraper. I'm imagining big building, glass. Like, we'll have the first glass gym. That's a good idea.
You can lift unlimited weight.
Deadlift in a glass gym that's in the air is not.
Sounds fun to me.
God. So, this is going to be a good Facebook question because I think it would fit. Snacking and binging, I get this all the time from clients because you can do the edge body workouts and that will get you 75% of the way, definitely. But the eating nutrition's easily going to either make or break how well you get that progress that you want.
It's a daily conversation I have.
Yeah. Getting a lot of people, the snacking always kills.
Snacking and overeating at certain times and undereating at others. And it's a cycle. So anybody that's looking to minimize body fat and then just get in good health in general, it's all about stabilization. I mean, and this applies not only to health and fitness, nutrition, but also just to real world. I think that we go through these cycles where we'll overwork ourselves and then we'll get burnt out and then we'll have no motivation to work at all. And then it's like, how do you pull yourself out of that hole? You have to grind back out and then you overwork yourself, go back, rather than just staying consistent, giving yourself rest when you need it. The diet's a lot the same way. People wake up, they skip breakfast. So now their blood sugar gets a little bit low.
Timing, yeah.
They get a little cranky. And then now our brains will create a signal that says your blood sugar is low, you need sugar. And so now you're craving cookies.
Yeah.
And you're craving not just one cookie, but you're hungry, you're
and
starving.
that's because blood sugar's low? That's
one of the factors.
Yeah, because I know when you're
one.
craving carbs, right, that there's some health reason why
your blood sugar gets low. Yeah, you're going to start craving that. And our brains have made the connection, as we go on, starting when we're like 2 years old, we get a cookie, we get that sugar rush, our bodies and brains recognize that. So, again, it's that cycle. You skip breakfast, and then you're going to overeat lunch, and then your blood sugar spikes because it can only handle so much. Your liver starts storing some of those excess calories as fat. When that happens, your blood sugar then crashes again. You get starved again.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah, and you might gorge right before bed, and then you wake up and you skip breakfast because you're not hungry because you overate right before bed. So you got to take it in more consistently and smaller amounts throughout the day. I'm blessed. I'm overly active. Lucky to own a gym and play a lot of basketball, but my meals are about 600 to 700 calories, and I eat that like 5 or 6 times a day, about every 3 hours. For most people, I'd recommend like around 300 or 400 calories, but I think that every 3 to 4 hours, if you can make yourself eat on a schedule like that, not only are you going to physically start to look better, and I think that has a big mental aspect, relief, where if you look how you see yourself in your head, you're going to be happier. But also just your hormones are going to be balanced better. You're going to be in a better mood, more pleasant to be around. And that can just lead to better optimism and just how you see things. Yeah, your mindset is going to carry you to more success through your personal relationships, through your business ventures, all that.
Yeah, it's amazing how physical
just
fixes everything.
That's why I do what we do, man, is because I really think that the basis of life is our existence. It's the body we're in.
100%.
How you treat that body is going to bleed through in other areas of your life completely. And if realistically, I think that one of the things we're chasing on the earth is happiness. So to obtain that happiness,
I think that could be a mutual that we can all agree that
everybody.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then I would like you to present me with what you are
what
chasing.
What are you looking for?
Yeah, because it always comes down to happiness and the basis of everything.
Meal prepping a necessity, or it helps? I know. But
I don't think it's a necessity.
Yeah.
But yes, if your schedule doesn't allow you to cook regularly, then it's really hard to succeed without it. Not very many restaurants are making things diet friendly,
That's very true. And your girlfriend is into meal prepping stuff, so that helps too.
She owns a meal prep company. Can I shout her out?
Do it, yeah.
Cool. YouChooseMeals.com. It's UCHEWS.
I'm gonna get sponsored. That's what's gonna
MEALS.com. Hey, I bet she does a couple free meals to you.
Hey, I love that.
Meal prep, it's super affordable. I mean, if you go eat at Subway or Qdoba on a regular basis, you can get these meals for cheaper than that. They're delicious.
$5 a meal? About?
Most of them are around $7.
$7?
But
not bad at all.
And you put it in the microwave for a minute and a half, and you go to town. I'm telling you, I'm addicted to the stuffed peppers.
Yeah, I see them at Edgebody all the time. Always look so good.
Man, oh my God, my mouth's watering.
Yeah.
I'm
ready.
ready.
You get steak after this?
Hey, we can go. I mean.
Hey. So, do you ever stress about competitors? I know that's big.
Honestly,
what's the mindset on that? Because I do personally stress about competitors.
I mean, people are going to do what you do.
Yeah,
no matter what you're doing. I mean, if you ran a microphone company, there's going to be a ton of other microphone companies. Make the best damn mic you can make, and then promote it the best you can. You're in charge of your success. There's people looking for microphones, and they're going to shop around regardless. It's just a matter of
I didn't think about
what your niche is.
Shopping around.
Everybody's got a different niche. Maybe don't do the exact same thing as the top 3 people doing it. Find a way to be a little bit different, and then promote yourself based off your strengths.
How do you like to promote yourself? Or what do you think your biggest strengths are?
Oh, man.
You got a lot, so I can tell you what I think.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a funny story real quick before you do.
Do it. Go in.
I was in an interviewing this guy for a training position.
Oh, yeah?
And I asked him what his greatest strengths are, and he said his biceps. So I was like,
Did you hire him?
No, you got hired instead.
Oh,
just so
yeah.
you know. I always go back to that. That was pretty funny to me. It was really hard for me not to react in a way that would embarrass him because it was just me and him sitting in a room, and I was like, okay, what are your greatest weaknesses then? Like,
my calves.
I didn't really, right? I didn't know how to respond to that one, but anyway, you say you had a question for me, or you had a guess at a strength.
Or at least I'll name one, and then you kind of piggyback one of yours.
Okay, I'm interested to hear.
I know organization is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Organization, and I will say this word, compartmentalization. If you can't put things in your brain and separate them from other things and not have everything a mess, it's going to be real tough to succeed. And especially now when you grow your business to the point where you have employees and there's things going on that you just have to trust are getting done, sometimes you have to let things go to the back of your mind for 2 or 3 weeks, and you're like, okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to check on that. And you can't stress about it, because if you stress about it, it's going to take up space in your brain that you need to be using to be productive.
Very true. Now, what about like a weak area that you have worked on? And that might be anxiety, or because you've said you suffered with that.
Yeah,
which
I've
I think
had,
is
super bad anxiety.
Is awful as an entrepreneur, and it's so awesome that you could fight. Like, you probably just a lot of brute force to get through it too.
Yeah,
it's just really holding on.
And acceptance. I think that even last night, really, I was having a discussion with my girlfriend about a woman that kind of has been irking my nerves a few times recently. And this particular person kind of got my nerves up a little bit, so I had to tell her, like, hey, I'm getting a little anxiety right now, feeling uneasy, heart was starting to beat a little faster, and I had to tell myself, like, hey, we can think about something else, talk about something else, and literally within 5 minutes, I didn't feel that in myself anymore. But
just acknowledging it?
Yeah, acknowledging and not thinking that, I used to think there was something wrong with me. There's not anything wrong with me. It's just a matter of dealing with the emotions that were coming forth. And I think my anxiety was personally coming from having emotions that I didn't know how to deal with. So unfortunately, when I was growing up, that was one thing that I don't think I got taught very well, was to, if you feel something, that's fine, but you don't let how you feel about that one thing control your day or your feelings about anything else. And tomorrow is always going to be a new day that you can wake up and you don't have to experience that experience anymore, as long as you don't put yourself in a position to. You know, that lady that was stressing me out, I'm going to do my best to not have any more interactions with her for the rest of my life.
You're very good at doing that, addressing, because when people like to hold it in and then they still like blame the people, and they're always mad at the people, but they never tell the people what's wrong.
Yeah, and communication is going to be a big factor. And I would say, you asked me what I was working on. I don't think communication was necessarily a weakness, but I will say transparent communication, really being able to speak my mind on how I truly feel, has been a struggle from the get-go. I was always scared. If I tell you how I feel, are you going to like me anymore?
Yeah,
I was so scared of that fear of judgment that I would say what I thought people wanted to hear.
Right.
And I found out that not only was that providing a lot of my anxiety and depression, but as soon as I stopped doing that and spoke my mind, I started feeling much better about myself, and other people started liking me more because they could tell I was actually being genuine.
Yeah, being real too.
Yeah.
God, that is so hard, because you want to be a good friend and tell people, especially if someone's doing something that you're like, you probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the difference is you don't look at somebody and say, hey, quit doing that, stupid.
There's different ways to say it.
Say, hey, man, look, I know you didn't mean nothing by it, but would you mind stopping that, because it's not really doing us any good. So again, circling back to communication, I did have to learn how to talk to people the right way to be able to be transparent, because I'll tell you, whenever I was 16 years old, 19 years old, I wasn't as clean-spoken as you are. I would have told somebody the brutal thoughts on my mind very quickly. So that was probably why I was so scared to speak my mind, is I needed to work on how I communicated.
And do you think it drew people away back 19 when you would talk like that?
Yeah, occasionally it would either draw them away, or I wouldn't show them how I really felt, and it would build up inside of me and create negativity and pessimism.
That's so crazy. So coming all the way back around, so coming from sleeping on the couch, back just starting up, all the way building up to where you are right now, thinking about the big dreams, glass gym. Is there one quote that could tie in like your whole mindset of how you just operate on a day-to-day? Being a successful business owner, because that's what I would call you.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Elaborate on that. I liked that. I felt that.
All right. I'll put it in several terms here.
Do it.
In fitness, if you're hitting your weights, if you're hitting your cardio, if you're eating healthy, your body's going to be in peak physical condition. If I have a basketball game coming up or whatever that task is, a mud run, anything that somebody is a competition, or if it's just somebody asking me about my general health, I'm going to be ready for it. I don't have to stress about prepping for it. Oh man, I'm going to have to hit the gym hard now. No, because I always hit the gym hard.
That's crazy. I actually think about that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
your life is the whole prep, is how your lifestyle works,
Mm-hmm.
and how you're always on the train. You don't just start working out when you know summer's coming.
Right.
You don't. You have that whole lifestyle.
That's where stress comes from.
Yeah.
Is feeling like you're in a rush to do something. You're trying to get ready really fast. But if you just continuously work at what you want to be doing, whoever you want to be, do what you have to do to be who you want to be, and you'll become that person, and you'll stay that person. You don't have to keep trying to get ready to be that person anymore. You'll be able to put on the bathing suit in the summer and be that person.
That's real. That's what I think
And in
everyone
business,
should work on all the time.
Yeah, in business, it's the same thing. I mean, if you're every week, if you're making your follow-up calls, if you're going through your email, trying to answer to everybody every week, and then showing up, putting a smile on your face in front of your clients, trying to make their day better, you don't have to come around and be like, all right, I haven't answered my voicemails in 2 weeks. I better go ahead and catch up on those. And then you have to worry about people are going to think, calling them 2 weeks later.
You can't be doing that as a
I'm really sorry for taking so long. No, because I called you back a day later. I can say, hey, how's it going? And I can feel good about it. So stay ready and do what you have to do.
And I see you doing that in your day-to-day all the time. And just the little nuances about it makes it so much. And it's no question on why you're so successful and building up to it. And you're really all about that slow and steady. And I think that's super awesome, super admirable, how slow you will take it and not take money out of the business yet until you're ready. I think that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Greg, for taking out on this Friday, close to Thunder, driving in this crazy, just close to Thunder, because Thunder's tomorrow.
Backed up on 64.
Should have warned you about that.
I just realized yesterday that Thunder's tomorrow.
Yeah, me too, actually. I actually learned today before this. Greg was like, or not Greg, Walter was like, yeah, we have Thunder coming up. And I'm like, oh, that probably makes sense why.
Yeah. Hey, it's warm outside. We should have known. But yeah, it was a pleasure being on this. And it's pretty cool. You got the board over here from entrepreneur, 2 different phases, to modern copy interviews. Now you're who do.
You see the phase. I want to show this. That whole phase where I just did 2 podcasts, that's when I was thinking about giving up. Because it was just so hard for me, and I wasn't motivated. And
I remember, and you asked me, hey, do you have any ideas for names?
Yeah.
And you were getting so frustrated. And then it was literally 2 months later, you were in here working, getting a huge opportunity, and now you all have turned it into something that, you all have a legit studio here in an incredible facility that has historical.
There's
value.
No way. Pictures don't do justice.
Right. No, and being in here, I even seen it on your Instagram several times, but being in here, it's super motivating to see you doing this, just so you know.
Well, thank you so much, Greg.
Welcome, man.